Ever get that feeling like when you upgrade to the latest phone and it's like, whoa, this is practically magic?
Uh-huh. Yeah, technology can definitely feel like that sometimes. It's like, how did we even live without this?
Right. And today, we're not talking about just a slightly better camera or a faster processor. We're going deep on something much bigger. An article literally called The Intelligence Age. And get this, it was just published today.
Hot off the presses. And trust me, this isn't your typical tech news. It suggests that we're on the edge of a change as massive as, say, the agricultural revolution or the industrial revolution.
Yeah.
But instead of land or, machines, it's all about intelligence itself.
Okay, so we're talking big changes. But for those
Okay.
of us who don't speak fluent AI, what does this intelligence age actually look like? Paint us a picture.
Well, the article throws around this term, get ready for it, superintelligence.
Superintelligence. Okay, now you've got my attention.
Basically, we're talking about AI that can outperform humans in pretty much every way.
Superintelligence. I'll admit that's both exciting and a little intimidating. Like, part of me is imagining these super helpful robot assistants, but the other part is wondering if I need to start, like, prepping a bunker or something,
Right.
just in case.
Uh-huh. I get it. But what's truly mind-blowing is how WE got here. The article talks about this breakthrough called deep learning, essentially, teaching computers to learn like we do. They can process massive amounts of data and find patterns we'd never even think to look for.
So, teaching computers to learn like humans, that makes sense. But where does the super part come in?
Well, that's the thing. Even the experts are kind of blown away by what deep learning can do. It can analyze, problem solve, and even create in ways we never thought possible. The article has this crazy example, actually. It talked about sand.
Sand, like at the beach.
Yeah, it talked about how we take something as basic as sand, turn it into these incredibly complex computer chips, and through that process, we're on the verge of AI that could surpass human capabilities.
Whoa, okay. So we're not just talking about some fancy algorithms here. It's like this whole journey from literal sand to potentially the biggest thing to happen to humanity.
Exactly.
I'll be honest, my mind is kind of blown right now.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But okay, we've established this intelligence age is a pretty big deal. Now let's talk about what really matters. Us. What does this actually mean for everyday people?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. You see, this article isn't all doom and gloom predictions about robots taking over. It actually paints a surprisingly optimistic picture of the future.
So we're talking about this intelligence age, right? Super intelligence, deep learning, all that stuff. Honestly, it feels like we're living in a sci-fi movie sometimes, but what really caught my eye was how optimistic this article is about the future. It's not all doom and gloom.
No, definitely not. And it goes way beyond the whole robots will do all our chores thing, too.
Oh, okay, now I'm even more curious. What does it say?
Well, they talk about this idea of shared prosperity.
Yeah.
But it's not just, everyone having flying cars and mansions. It's about equitable access to resources,
Mm-hmm.
healthcare that actually works for everybody, and an education system that actually helps every student reach their full potential.
Yeah.
Really making a difference.
Hold on. Equitable access, healthcare, education. That's a pretty tall order. I mean, those are huge challenges. How does AI actually make that happen?
Imagine a world where every single student has their own personal AI tutor,
Yeah.
like available 24/7.
Okay, a personal tutor for every student. I like where this is going.
And this AI tutor, it wouldn't just be like a walking encyclopedia. It would adapt to how the student learns best. It would pinpoint their strengths and weaknesses and help them really grasp any subject.
Wow, now that would be revolutionary. Everyone would have a shot at a great education. But, the article does mention some things we need to, actually make this happen. Things like compute power, energy, even something as simple as human will. What do those even mean when we're talking about AI and shared prosperity?
You're right, those are key. So compute power, that's basically the horsepower behind all this AI. And obviously that requires a ton of energy to run. And here's where the human will comes in. We have to be very intentional about how we develop and use these technologies. We have to make sure they actually benefit everyone, not just a select few.
So it's not just about building more powerful AI. It's about building it responsibly. It's about making sure that the future we're building is actually a future we want to live in.
Yes, exactly. And the article actually warns about potential conflicts over these things. Like, imagine countries fighting over who has the best AI. Or, huge corporations hogging it all for themselves. We need to make sure everyone has access to these benefits.
It's almost like that old saying, with great power comes great responsibility, right? We need to be really careful here.
Absolutely. And the article makes it clear, this isn't some far-off problem. This is happening right now. This is a conversation we all need to be a part of.
So it's a call to action then. We can't just sit back and wait for this to play out. We have to be active participants in shaping this intelligence age.
Exactly. And speaking of shaping the future, the article also digs into one of the biggest anxieties people have about AI, what it means for our jobs.
Oh, yeah, the big one, right. Will robots take our jobs? I have to admit, I've lost a little sleep over that one myself.
Haha, I think we all have at some point. But the intelligence age has a really interesting take on this, a really thought-provoking analogy. They talk about the lamplighter.
The lamplighter. Okay, I'm not sure I see the connection, but go on.
Well, back in the day, someone had to go around and light the street lamps every night. Right, it was a job, a pretty important one at the time. Then electric lights came along, and poof, the lamplighter was pretty much out of a job.
Okay, so are you saying we're all headed for a lamplighter moment with AI? Okay, so are you saying we're all headed for a lamplighter moment with AI? Are we all going to be out of jobs?
Well, not quite. See, here's the thing about the lamplighter. Yeah, that specific job disappeared. But it's not like everyone just stopped working, right? The article really stresses this point. Most jobs, they don't just vanish overnight. They evolve. Like, think about the internet. When it first came around, everybody was freaking out, right? The internet's going to take our jobs. But it didn't really work out that way, did it?
No, it definitely didn't. I mean, it created a ton of new jobs, too. Jobs that didn't even exist before.
Exactly. Social media manager.
Yeah.
App developer. Those weren't even things back then. So, yeah, some jobs will change. Some might even disappear completely. But new ones, they're going to pop up, probably stuff we can't even imagine right now.
It's like we get so caught up in what we're losing, we forget to look for what we might gain. Okay, that makes me feel a little better, actually. But what about, like, the human element, the things AI can't replicate?
Exactly. And the article touches on this, too. It talks about this innate human need to create, to connect, to contribute. AI, as amazing as it is, it's still just a tool. It can help us achieve those things, but it can't replace them.
It's like AI can help us write a symphony, but it can't feel the music the way we do.
Exactly. It all comes back to that human will we were talking about.
Yeah.
We decide how this technology shapes our world, our work, our lives.
So it's not about humans versus robots. It's about humans with robots.
Yeah, you've got it. Working together, not against each other.
Okay, I like that. I much prefer that narrative. Well, wow, we've covered a lot of ground today. Superintelligence, shared prosperity, the future of work, a lot to process.
It really is. But if you take away one thing from all of this, I hope it's this. This intelligence age, it's not some distant thing. It's happening right now. And we're all part of it, whether we realize it or not.
It's both exciting and a little daunting, right? Like, we have a responsibility here. We have a say in how this all unfolds. And on that note, I want to leave you with something to think about. If AI could solve any problem at all, what would you choose? What would you ask it to solve? Let that question simmer, because the future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we create.
Well said. The power to shape the future is in our hands.
And on that note, that wraps up our deep dive into the intelligence age. Keep those minds curious, and we'll catch you next time.